we want to be aiming to secure as soon as possible 1,000 Bitcoin on the balance sheet, and the operating business to be growing as a direct result of our talent attraction and our ability to then use share leverage and share options to also welcome other businesses into the group.
Hello, you're watching Proactive. I'm joined by Scott Ellam. He's the CEO of Connecting Excellence Group. Scott, Happy New Year. And you started the new year running with two lots of news out this morning. Starting with your new Bitcoin denominated convertible bond, the structure is being called a first of its kind. Tell us more.
Yeah, so our XE Bitcoin bond is first of its kind, and the two elements that are the first of its kind are the Bitcoin differentiator, which allows the conversion price to track the Bitcoin price, which gives the investors and the bondholders true Bitcoin denomination in the bond. The other aspect is a refix at XE's option, which means that if we were to, and I don't believe we will, I believe this is going to be a great year for Bitcoin, given the institutional rails that have been put in place. But if it was a low market sentiment and our share price wasn't at the conversion price at maturity in 12 months, then we would be able to, provided it's beneficial to shareholders and increases Bitcoin per share, refix the conversion price. So we've designed them to be beneficial for the bondholders, the shareholders, and the business going forward. And ultimately, what we've intended to see there, and what the key investors who have participated in bonds want to see, is those bonds be repaid back in shares at the benefit to the shareholders.
So can you explain how the Bitcoin price differentiator actually protects Bitcoin's value per share when markets are volatile?
Yeah, so if the markets were volatile, if the Bitcoin price went down and our share price stayed the same, that wouldn't necessarily, that would be beneficial to the bondholders, and they'll be able to convert. Now, the conversion price would also mirror that and half as well, so that they could convert in an advantageous situation for the shareholders and for them, and the business is not trapped in an environment where the bond isn't converting because the Bitcoin price has tracked down. When the Bitcoin price goes up, say the Bitcoin price doubles, the conversion price will double, and our share price will need to exceed the 120% soft call mark for us to call the bonds. And that means that the bondholders are guaranteed, if you like, to be only in a soft call situation when our share price has outperformed Bitcoin, rather than if Bitcoin stayed the same price and our share price went the same, or if Bitcoin doubled and our share price went up half, that wouldn't necessarily be as advantageous to them. So it's true Bitcoin denomination. And I believe we've got a scalable tool there that will appeal to institutional investors, not just in the UK, but around the world, who are holding sizable amounts of Bitcoin. And they're the investors that are able to participate in those bonds.
Scott, you've also followed up on December's purchases with the acquisition of more Bitcoin. So you now have 41.36 Bitcoin on the balance sheet. How do you decide when to buy more and when to pause?
We want to buy Bitcoin with all available cash and all of the time. So as soon as we are able to buy Bitcoin, we will buy Bitcoin. We believe the long-term thesis in Bitcoin is that we're going to see a 30% compound annual growth rate over the next 10 years as a base mark. Now, it doesn't matter if next week the price is down or the price is up, we would buy the Bitcoin. We're in a long-term play here. We've been buying it for 4 years already. We plan to be buying it for 40 years into the future. And we see it as 10, 20, 30, 40 years, this becoming a globally recognized reserve commodity, asset, money. It's the only thing that ticks all of those boxes. And you just see with the likes of Larry Fink, with the most successful Bitcoin ETF over at BlackRock, that corporate adoption is already coming and the rails have been put in place in 2025. I'd expect to see that reflected in 2026. But we want to buy Bitcoin all of the time, consistently, forever.
And what do you think is going to support Bitcoin going into 2026, Scott?
Well, 2026, to quote Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock, they put the ETF out recently, and he said, if you see nation states start buying the asset, don't be surprised to see that 500,000 to 700,000. I don't necessarily see that this year. You see it into the long term, and that's the reason we're building a treasury. And we want to be aiming to secure as soon as possible 1,000 Bitcoin on the balance sheet, and the operating business to be growing as a direct result of our talent attraction and our ability to then use share leverage and share options to also welcome other businesses into the group. So long term, I see significantly strong performance for Bitcoin, but that is long term. The way to deal with the short term volatility is just buy consistently over a long period of time. So that's where we see it going. Other catalysts, US strategic Bitcoin reserve that the government have stated that they will build in a budget neutral manner. If that gets the go ahead this year and they start actively purchasing, other countries will have to consider following. And in that environment, who knows where the price of Bitcoin is going to go? But I only see it going up long term.
Well, Scott, I hope you'll continue to keep us updated with your progress. Thank you very much for taking the time today.
Thanks to see you, Stephen. Good to see you.
That's Connecting Excellence Group CEO Scott Ellam.